What's up, and welcome to another episode of Open Court with Derik Williams. I'm your host, Derik Williams, also known as DWill The Coach, and we're back. That's right, family. We are back with the hardest hitting 30 minutes in sports talk radio right here exclusively on eyeballradio.com and the Eyeball Radio YouTube page. And oh boy, you know what's happening. College football is back. That's right. College football is back. We had live games this past weekend, and oh my goodness, I am here to break it all down for you. Was it a weekend or was it a weekend? You know all the storylines. You know what I'm talking about. Listen, if any show in the last 2 days, I'm just gonna be honest with you, right? I'm gonna be completely honest with you. If any show in the last 2 days, I'm just talking about Monday and Tuesday, right? If your lead story was not Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about if Coach Prime was not your lead story on every show out there. But this is the only show that matters, and that's right, baby. We are leading off with Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes, man, as they dismantle TCU, last year's runner-up for the national championship. The team that they were 20-point underdogs to. They came out and they won the game. That's right, they came out and won the game, man. We're going to break that down, all aspects of it. We're going to talk about all the ancillary parts and everything else, man. And then we're going to get into our top 10 breakdown. And inside that top 10 breakdown is something that gives me good joy. I mean, it gives me great joy. Not good. It gives me great joy for what happened last night. What happened last night has me smiling from ear to ear because y'all know how I feel about the Clemson Tigers. You know how I feel about the Clemson Tigers. You know what I am. I'm a Bama. You know this already. So you know how I feel about those Clemson Tigers, man, and they fall last night. That's right, they lost to Duke. And I call Duke a cupcake. Shout out to my guy, Riley Leonard. I apologize. Y'all are not cupcakes. You're not cupcakes. You did exactly what I asked. It took me a long time last season. I asked a lot of teams to do it for me, and they didn't do it for me, right? They didn't do it for me. But Riley Leonard and the Duke Blue Devils, you did it for me in week 1, and I thank you so much. I thank you so much. And then, man, after that top 10 breakdown, man, I'm going to give you my top 10 going into week 2. After week 1, the top 10 according to me. Y'all know we drop that each and every week, man. So get ready for that. I'm going to announce it live right here on Open Court with Derik Williams. And then I'm going to get into some NFL breakdown, man, because that's right, man. NFL season is right around the corner. The NFL season is right around the corner. It kicks off this week. So, man, since NFL kicks off this week, we're going to dive into it just a little bit. We're going to talk about some of the games that really stick out to us, man. But, man, no further ado, man. No further ado. I can't. I know y'all can't wait, but I can't wait, man. I am anxious to get to it, man. Let's jump right into our college football breakdown. Woo! Hey, listen. What Coach Prime asked him, do you believe now? Oh, you still not a believer. Do you believe? I said, do you believe in Coach Prime in Colorado? Before I get into all that, I'm just saying, it's the aesthetics of it all, right? Just coming out and looking at it. Can you believe he went out there and did that? Can you believe he went out there and did that? Right? Nobody expected. Listen, I believe in Coach Prime. I think he's a great coach. I think he's a great motivator. I think he's a great leader of young men. However, I did not expect them to win that football game. I didn't. I'm sorry. I'm not one. Listen, I picked against them. I thought they would cover, but I didn't think they would win. I wasn't familiar with the roster, right? I loved what they had because I said on this show, I said it. If you got a quarterback, you can play, right? If you got a quarterback, you can compete. And we knew he had a quarterback. And then we knew he had a stud in Travis Hunter. We knew he had a stud in Travis Hunter. We knew that. So those are things that were givens for us. However, we didn't know it was going to look like this. The dude got 87 new players. 87 new players. With 87 new players on one roster of a little bit over 100 probably. Are you serious? Are you serious? Did you expect them to look like that? But hey, listen, shout out and kudos to Coach Prime, man. They deserved it all, man. But my goodness, these numbers. We knew Shedeur was good. And I got the privilege of being able to call Alabama State University's football games a couple of times over the last several seasons. I was able to see Coach Prime up close and personal at Jackson State. And then I was also able to see Shedeur up close and personal when he played at Jackson State. And I knew he was good. Like, he was good. I saw a lot of him. He was good. But my goodness, I didn't know he was this good. I had no idea. I had no idea that Shedeur was this good. Like, he is great. And he looks every bit of the part. Like, there's nothing you can deny against this young man's game. This young man has it all. And then not only does he have it all on the football field, he got it all off. He is his daddy's child. He is his daddy's son because he acts just like him. Not only look just like him, he acts just like him. He has the swag. He has the personality. He has the persona. He's eloquent. He's all of those things. And then he's a baller on the field. Man, listen, Shedeur Sanders went for 38 for 47, 510 yards with 4 touchdowns. And here's the thing about those stats. Those stats, he needed all 510 yards as he only won this game 45-42. This game was the best game of the weekend. It went down to the wire as they beat number 17 TCU. I mentioned they played in the national championship game just last season. Just last season, they played in the national championship game. And here you are, number 17, coming into the season with high expectations. This offense was supposed to be incredible. Colorado was not supposed to be able to stand up with them in the trenches, inside the... What? We heard all the pundits and everybody talk about all that stuff. But come out, man. Shedeur Sanders, 38 for 47, 510 with 4 touchdowns. They needed all of those yards. Every single one of them. Now, they didn't run the ball particularly well. Right? Because he was throwing for 510 while you're running, right? It's the new age of football. It's run and gun, and they needed those points. They had to score to make sure they stayed ahead of and then keep up with later on in the game TCU when they made their run. So the run game, I'm not too concerned about. I heard a lot of people try to talk about, oh, well, they didn't run the ball very well. If you're not able to run the ball, you're not going to be able to win. Listen, miss me with all that. Running backs, are they showing you they're devaluing running backs every single day in the NFL, right? Every single day in the NFL, they devalue the running back position. So don't give me that all of a sudden you need running backs when you tell me every single day you don't need running backs. Now, I'm not one to that notion. I think running backs are still extremely valuable, if not one of the most valuable pieces on a football team. However, they didn't run it particularly well. But it doesn't concern me. Because they ran it well enough, right? They got 2 touchdowns on the ground, so they ran it well enough. They only ran for, right around, and see, those numbers are skewed because Shedeur got sacked a lot, and we understand still in college football, sack yardage goes against your rushing yardage, which I think is just asinine and stupid. However, they still do that in college football. So those numbers are hurting a little bit because Shedeur did lose technically 32 yards rushing, right? So that knocked them back a little bit. However, they didn't run it particularly well. However, look at Shedeur and the way he spread the football around. It wasn't like he just keyed in on one guy and that's who only person I could throw the ball to. It's not like he's what they like to say, he's not able to get to his second, third, and fourth progression. Man, he was getting to his second, third, fourth progression, fifth progression, back to his first. The kid showed it all. He showed the moxie in the pocket. He showed the ability to slide subtly left and right in the pocket and increase those throwing windows. You saw him throw guys open. You saw him anticipate throws. You saw him do a lot of things. And listen, he should have had 600 yards, to be honest with you, because he had some dimes. I mean, dimes that he dropped to guys that they dropped. Travis Hunter dropped one in the doggone end zone. He dropped a touchdown that hit him in the hands. I think Horn Jr. might not have been. It might have been Dylan Edwards. I think it was Dylan Edwards, the freshman Dylan. He dropped one on the sideline that hit him in the breadbasket, and he dropped it. So my thing is, Shedeur's numbers could be even better. They could be even better if those guys come up with some of those catches, because like I say, he was putting them on the money, and he spread that football all around, man. And as the aforementioned Dylan Edwards came in, and he really stepped up big, man. 5 catches, 135 yards with 3. You count it. 1, 2, 3 touchdowns. His first game touching the field, and he gets 3 touchdowns. Balling. 27 yards per catch. He was burning people. Now, granted, y'all gonna say, oh, Coach, I watched the game. Yes, I did. And I know he was throwing it short, and Dylan Edwards was getting to the he was getting loose, right? That little Mighty Mouse was getting out there, catching that thing, and yak. He was getting yak. True enough. But if y'all gonna take his rushing yards because of sacks, y'all ain't finna talk to me about no yak. All right? Don't talk to me about yak. He still put the ball on the money, so he was able to run after the catch, right? So Dylan Edwards balled out. Travis Hunter, I'm going to save him, okay? I'm going to save him. I'm going to finish these stats. I'm going to save Travis, and I'm going to come back to him. Just okay. Xavier Weaver, 6 catches, 118 yards, 19.7 yards a catch. Jimmy Horn Jr., 11 catches, 117 yards, 10.6 average with the touchdown. Do y'all hear that? He had 4 players, 4 players go over 100 yards receiving. That is spreading the ball around. And the highest one had 135 yards. And he had 5'10". Man, listen, Shedeur Heisman. That was a Heisman performance. If you're going to talk to me about J.J. McCarthy's performance, or you're going to talk to me about Caleb Williams' performance, or you're going to talk to me about Sam Hartman's performance at Notre Dame and say all of those are Heisman worthy, oh, miss me. Because that performance was the Heisman winner. If we had to talk about it today, that he already had his Heisman moment. Shedeur Sanders had his Heisman moment the first game of the season when they beat number 17 and he threw for 510, mind you, on the road. He did that in TCU, in Texas. That wasn't in Colorado. That wasn't home in front of his fans. No, that was on the road. Come on, man. Y'all got to give Shedeur his props. He is the leader in the wheelhouse right now after game 1. And I know I'm way too early. Way too early Heisman predictions, right? But I can only go with what my eyes see. I can only go with what my eyes see. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is the best football player in the country after week 1. Period. But let's talk about that guy. Because if I say Shedeur is the best, 1A, this guy's 1B. Travis Hunter. Did he have a day? I think he played over 140 snaps in this game. Did you hear me? Over 140 snaps in this game alone. Travis Hunter played. He played like 80 on offense, 60 on... Are you kidding me? And listen, 11 catches, 119 yards. And like I mentioned, he dropped a touchdown. He dropped a gift from Shedeur Sanders in the end zone where he had smoked the defensive back, burned him, and he laid out for it beautiful and dropped it, right? If he comes up with that he might have 150 and a freaking touchdown. Come on, man. That's on the offensive end of the football. But on the defensive end of the football, yeah, he only had 1 tackle and 2 assists, right? But he's Deion, right? Who remembers Deion from back in his playing days? Coach Prime wasn't tackling nobody. He wasn't tackling nobody. He just shut down one half of the field. And if you saw that play that Travis Hunter made in the red zone where he came up with an interception one-on-one on the outside and they tried to throw a little comeback route and he laid out and took that interception from the TCU defender, that just showed that was Deion Sanders 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. It looked just like him. It looked just like him. So with his ability to come up with plays like that, on a game-to-game basis, if he's able to do that, oh my goodness, you're talking about a top 5 pick. You're talking about him and Shedeur Sanders being top 5 picks in this upcoming NFL draft. That's what you're telling me. If these performances continue, these two will be top 5 picks in this upcoming NFL draft. No way you can deny them. There's no way you'll be able to deny those guys if they're able to continue the performances that they put on this Saturday. Man, that was remarkable. And shout out to Coach Prime. And we saw what they talked about, what they wanted to talk about afterwards. They wanted to talk about everything except but he asked them one question. Do you believe now? Do you believe now? And I guarantee they still doubting him. And we don't doubt you, Coach Prime. We rock here rocking with you, man. But let's moving right along, man. Let's get to our top 10 breakdown because inside this top 10, man, it's a lot to talk about, man. We got a lot to talk about inside this top 10, man. So let's jump into it right now. I got to get a little bounce for this. Because this top 10 breakdown, man, I just got to be honest with you. It makes me smile. Yes, it does. And I'm not even going to go there first. I'm not even going there first, but it makes me smile because some of the questions that we had going into this football season, right? When we had our conversations prior to this episode about everybody needs a quarterback kind of at the top, right? We talked about Ohio State. We talked about Georgia. We talked about Alabama. We talked about those guys really needing quarterbacks and those quarterbacks having to step up and show that they're worthy to lead those programs that are perennials, that are expected to be in the college football playoff, right? We talked about that. And I don't know really how to say it, but some didn't look too good. Some didn't look too good. Let's just keep it real. And let's jump right into it, man. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Georgia, and even though they won, they beat UT Martin 48-7. Carson Beck got the start, as we all know, and everybody was talking about how he was very capable, right? And I'm not saying he's not. However, they did not start off. They started off very slow. Let's just say it like that. They started off slow. They didn't look very good. And through the first half of that football game, and they were allowing UT Martin to really play with them, right? They allowed Tennessee Martin to play with them for the most part, right? And then, talent just leads out. But however, they allowed him to play. Carson Beck didn't look too good, even though he went 21 for 31, 294 and a touchdown. If you saw it, right? Like I watched it. If you saw it, those stats are misleading. He wasn't that good. Can he lead that offense? Yes. Is he elite right now? No. Did he show flashes of being an elite? No. I didn't see elite out of Carson Beck, right? I just didn't see it. I didn't see game break from Carson Beck. And I'm not sitting here saying that he had 3 carries for 12 yards with a touchdown, right? And there ain't nothing that's blowing me out of the water, but he just didn't hop off the screen to me. I can't say that he did. Man. And so, but this upcoming week, I think Georgia didn't get the memo. You're only allowed to play one cupcake, right? Like, you can start off the season. We talked about Cupcake City. We said it's okay, all right? Everybody can start the season off with a cupcake. Georgia, did you not get the memo? You get 1, not 2 in a row, and you're coming back with Ball State. Moving right along, man. Number 2, Michigan, man, they beat ECU 30-3. I'm going to tell you like this. J.J. McCarthy looked good, but that running back room with Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards, listen, they can run that football, man. And if J.J. McCarthy is able to play the way he played, going 26 for 30, 280 with 3 tutties and no picks, woo! Woo! Y'all heard that? 26 for 30 with 280 and 3 tutties? Man, stop. If he can play like that, man, Michigan's going to be a problem. Michigan is going to be a problem if J.J. McCarthy is able to do that. And they did that, like I mentioned, they did all that without that man. We know that John Harbaugh is serving a 3-game suspension, self-imposed by the university, 3-game suspension to start out this season. And they played well, right? It ain't like they had to do much to beat ECU. No disrespect to ECU, but we understand it ain't like they had to do much. But 26 for 30, 280, and 3 tutties, those are numbers. And if you watch that game like I did, and that's a common theme, he looked good. And Michigan looked good also, man. So Michigan is one of those teams I was impressed with from the weekend, man. At number 3, man, we got Ohio State, their nemesis, right? Ohio State. They beat Indiana 23-3. Now, remember I said Cupcake City, even though it was a conference opponent, man, Indiana's still Cupcake City, right? They started off, even though it was conference, it's still Cupcake, right? And they beat them 23-3. Yeah, you heard him. 23-3. Does that sound like a number 3 team in the country? Don't give me that was a conference opponent. I don't want to hear that. Does that sound like the number 3 team in the country? No, it does not. Remember I said before this season started that Ryan Day had something to prove to me? He has something to prove, and not just to me, but I'm the one that matters over here. But he has something to prove to the nation that he could actually be the one that does it, right? Can he be the one to do it? Is he the right guy for that job? Because we know it was when he got the job and had a lot of that success was a hangover from Urban Meyer. It was a hangover. And now he's been there long enough to where this is all him. This is all Ryan Day. right? This is all Ryan Day. And remember I told you he showed flashes last year, not having the temperament that I think a head coach needs to have. And everybody gonna say, well, you just gave Deion Sanders all the love. But Deion Sanders has a temperament. Just because he's flashy and he talks a lot of trash don't mean he don't have a temperament. I'm talking about what we saw from Ryan Day last year. What we saw from him last year, I just wasn't impressed with. And it came out, and listen, it showed in game 1. They have some issues in Ohio State. Ohio State has some issues, and it starts at the quarterback position. It starts at the quarterback position. Kyle McCord did not look like a guy who can lead that squad. Carson Beck looked better than Kyle McCord. Like, I trust Carson Beck more than I trust Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord showed me nothing. I'm just going to be 100 with you. He showed me, I'm going to go even further. I didn't see it. I don't see it from Kyle McCord. He's not a guy that I'm going to sit back and say, oh, he can get it together. No, he didn't show that. He went 20 for 33, 239, no touchdowns, and a pick. Bro, you playing Indiana. There's no way your stats should look like that playing Indiana. That offense looked stagnant. That offense looked as if it was out of sync. And how can you be out of sync in the first game? It's the first game. You've been practicing all summer long for this one game. How can you be rusty and out of sync in the first game, and it's the only game you practiced for all year? It's not like you had a 1-week turnaround, dude. You had 4 months. You had 4 months to prepare for this game, and you came out and you looked like that. So that's what I'm telling you. I don't see it out of Kyle McCord. Out of all the 3 quarterbacks that I said, well, all the 3 teams where I said were ushering in new quarterbacks at the top in Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama, Kyle McCord looked the worst. He looked like he wasn't capable. I knew somebody was going to look incapable. He's the one. He's the one, man. Coming in at number 4, man, Alabama. Alabama blows out Middle Tennessee State 56-7. 56-7. But let's talk about this real quick. Jalen Milroe, we all know the talk that was leading up to the game. Oh, Nick Saban doesn't have a quarterback. Oh, he didn't even release a 2-deep depth chart, right? He didn't release the depth chart, so that means all that. We heard all that noise. Right? But y'all forgot that Jalen Milroe was there last year. Jalen Milroe was there just last year. He played. He started. He won. He's the reason that your boy is in Texas. Cooper, little boy, Arch. He's the reason he's there. Because he knew he wasn't going to beat out Jalen Milroe. That's just my opinion. There's no facts behind that. But that's how I feel the reason he didn't come to Alabama. Why else wouldn't he come here? Why else? He ain't starting in Texas either, but I'm just saying. Digress. But Jalen Milroe looked the part. Y'all must have forgot. Because not only did he have a remarkable game, but he did something that has never been done in Alabama history. Now, think about this. Our last 4 quarterbacks, right? We had Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones. What's the boy name? Bryce Young. I don't know. How did that slip my mind? But Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, and Bryce Young. Those last 4 quarterbacks at the University of Alabama. All 4 of them are starting right now in the NFL. That's right. All Alabama's last 4 quarterbacks, all 4 of them are NFL starters this upcoming season in the NFL. And what Jalen Milroe did on Saturday, none of them were able to do. Right? It's never been done in the history by a quarterback at the University of Alabama. He threw for 3 touchdowns and ran for 2 more. And I'm talking about these are dynamic touchdowns, bro. It's not like these were just little. He has a cannon for an arm. I mean, he was dropping dimes all game long. I mean, dime after dime after dime after dime. And leading to 3 touchdowns, right? By 3 different receivers. Right? He had 3 touchdowns to 3 different receivers, spreading the ball around. He had 4 receivers over 20 yards, spreading the ball around, man. He showed he is capable. He showed he has the ability to lead the University of Alabama to wins because he is dynamic with his feet. He reminded you of a Jalen Hurts. That's who he looked like. But he was able to pitch that thing down the field and put it on the money. Did he miss some throws? Yes. Will he clean that up? Yes. But what I saw from him was he can throw. And I enjoyed every bit of it, right? I enjoyed every bit of it to see what I saw from him. Now, I am still a little concerned with that defense. Right? That defense did not show what I wanted to see from them up front. Now, they got some big boys up front in the trenches on that across that defensive line, right? Those linebackers are fast and they move very well. However, now listen, we got some bookend defensive ends in Turner, but I got to see more. I got to see them stop the run. Middle Tennessee was able to gain yards up the middle. Right? They have found success running the football up the middle. And I think that's something that has to be cleaned up in order for Alabama to be in where we need them to be at the end of the year. And that's in the college football playoff and in the national championship, winning another national championship for Nick Saban, man. But let's run through I'm going to run through this real quick, man. I do want to talk about this LSU. They came in at number 5. They lose on Sunday night to Florida State. That score was 45-24. It was a beatdown of epic proportion. I was very impressed with Florida State. I'm just going to keep it 1,000. I was extremely impressed with Florida State. And I'm about to give you my top 10 according to me, right, coming up after week 1. So I'm about to give you that, and you're going to be very impressed with where I moved Florida State up to because they just put a royal beatdown on LSU. Everybody was singing the praises of LSU, and I think LSU was smelling themselves. Brian Kelly, man. Brian Kelly, I told y'all. I've never been a guy that's just been patting Brian Kelly on the back. I haven't been a huge fan of Brian Kelly's in the past, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a huge fan of his right now. I'm just not, right? And he showed that he was outcoached. Listen, Norvell outcoached him on Sunday night. That's all that was. But they came in, man. They came in with their chest poked out because they beat Alabama last year. They came out with their chest poked out. They came out thinking they were somebody that they already were, and they hadn't done anything to earn it yet. And they got exactly what they deserve. That will kick LSU out of the college football playoff because they're not beating Alabama. They can't lose another game, right? They can't lose another game, and they have a tough schedule, and they got to see Bama. So I'm sitting here telling you that LSU is out. LSU is out. At number 6, USC. USC, they beat Nevada 66-14 to go to 2-0. Penn State beat West Virginia 38-15. Like I mentioned, Florida State came in 8. They beat LSU 45-24. At number 9, yes, baby. I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna stop doing that to Clemson fans for y'all stop listening to me. But I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic the Clemson lost. Right? I'm not a huge fan of Clemson. I'm just gonna keep it 1,000 with you. I'm not a huge fan of Clemson. Right? I'm just not. And yes, it has a lot to do with them beating Bama in the national championship game. Yeah, it has a lot to do with that. Right? It has a lot to do with that. Sunshine gave it to us. And but they were there for a while. I'm just not a fan. But to watch them last night, man, and I told y'all this last season, Dabo Swinney and Clemson are no longer in the upper echelon of college football. And I'm going to tell you, it's one reason and one reason only, because Dabo Swinney refuses to adjust to today's times. Every other coach who's had success over the last 15 years that we can call a perennial in Alabama, in Georgia, in Ohio State, in Michigan, these teams that are always been there, Oklahoma, even though they got a new coach with Brent Venables, listen, all of that ties in to Clemson's downfall. It ties in. And you know what it is? It's them not adjusting to the times. We know how Dabo Swinney feels about NIL, right? He's not a fan of it, right? He even speaks against it. We all know that he, forever, when they had all that success, he had the same coaching staff put together for a long time. And I just mentioned Brent Venables, who's now the head coach at Oklahoma. He lost him, and guess what? They've lost 3 of their last 4 games. And they looked bad last night. Did you hear what I said? They looked bad last night. That's showing it shows that they're not one of the top upper echelon teams anymore. They're not one of the premier programs anymore. I don't care what they do in recruiting. And we all know the ACC is struggling. So if you're going to tell me that Clemson's going to struggle and the only team that is going to be worthy in the ACC is going to be Florida State, man, ooh, trouble in paradise. Trouble in paradise. I don't care that y'all picked up Stanford and whoever else you picked up from the Pac-12. Man, nobody care about that. Nobody care about that, right? ACC is boy, they got one leg in, one leg out. They got one leg in, one leg out. They're just like the Big 12. I don't see the Big 12 doing nothing. Nobody in the Big 12 scares me coming up with conference realignment. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but nobody scares me. So nobody's going to scare me in the ACC. right? Because once Florida State is able to come up with that $120 million, they out of there. Audi and 5,000, G. You better believe that, man. And winding out the top 10, man, Washington, they beat up on, who was that, Boise State, 56-19. And I had people really thinking that was going to be a game. It was some people that were thinking that Boise State, with their offensive ability, was going to be able to hang in with Washington. And everybody's saying the USC is going to run away with the Pac-12 this year. Man, y'all better watch out for Washington. Y'all better watch out for Washington, right? And just some other notable games, man. Texas at 11, they beat Rice 37-10. Tennessee at 12, they beat Virginia 49-13. Notre Dame 56-3 over Tennessee State. Utah 24-11 over Florida. I was one of them. I thought Florida was going to look a lot better in that game, man. But I'm here to tell you, man, Florida looks like they're in trouble. I'm not sure if Billy Napier is the guy for that job. I'm not sure if Billy Napier's aura is big enough to run Florida. Like, Florida needs big name coaches. You need Steve Spurrier. You need Urban Meyer. I don't know if Billy Napier is that guy, right? I just don't. He didn't look the part to me. He didn't look the part. Like 24-11, and they didn't look good. It's not like that was a close, hard-fought game. Florida didn't look good, yo. They didn't. Y'all watched it. They didn't look very good. They didn't look good to me, man. So I'm concerned with the direction that program is headed in, and we're going to see as the season continues how it plays out, man. And I'm going to round out the top 15, man. Oregon, Bo Nix. I told y'all, beginning of the season, Oregon's another one of those teams I'm looking out for. Last year in the Pac-12, that Pac-12 is going to be really good this year, man. I'm sorry to tell y'all that. The last year of the Pac-12, man, it's going to be real competitive. It's going to be interesting games to watch inside the Pac-12 this year. Man, Oregon put up 81 points, bro. 81 points on Portland State. I don't care if it's Portland State. 81 points. 81 is 81. Y'all, Kobe. Like, 81 is 81, bro. And, man, that was a beatdown of epic proportion. That offense looks like a well-oiled machine. I don't care who they playing against. As the competition goes up, if they continue to play at a high level like that, they'll still get off against just about anybody they play against this upcoming season. But I want to give y'all my top 10, man, and I'm running over time, man. But guess what? This is my own platform. I can keep going if I want to. I can keep going if I want to. I don't have to stop. And I'm not going to stop right now, man. So I'm going to jump right into the top 10 after week 1, according to me. All right, here's what I got. Coming in, y'all want me to start at 10 and go up to 1 or 1 down to 10? I'm going to go 1 down to 10. Yeah, I'm going to go 1 down to 10. Coming in at number 1, I'm going with the Michigan Wolverines. After what I saw and what we just talked about in our college football breakdown, after looking at that and what I saw this weekend, I'm going to give Michigan the nod as the number 1 team in the country. I think Michigan deserves the nod as the number 1 team in the country. Because the way J.J. McCarty played, the way that backfield looks, the way that defense played, and they're playing without their head coach, they only look like to get better as the season goes along. So I got Michigan at number 1. Coming in at number 2, I'm going to keep Georgia there. Like I say, I'm not a huge fan of Carson Beck's, right? I'm not a huge fan of him. However, that team is still loaded. Brock Bowers and those guys, that team is loaded. It's a lot of talent on that team. And I trust Kirby Smart. Right, and I trust Kirby Smart. If there's somebody that I think can get in there and fix the issues that we saw on Saturday, Kirby Smart's one of the men that can do it. So I'm not too concerned about Georgia. I think they still will. I think they'll right the ship and get themselves back in order. However, I'll keep them there at number 2. Coming in number 3, man, I got Bama. I got Bama at number 3. Jalen Milroe, like I say, he looks the part, and if he continues to look the part, I think they're going to be one of the. I know. I'm trying to be analytical here. I'm trying not to be fanboy. I'm trying to be analytical. But y'all know, Bama's going to be there at the end. Bama's going to be there at the end, man. Coming in at number 5, at number 4, I got Florida State. After that beatdown they put on LSU, man, I got Florida State coming in at number 4. I think they're very deserving of this spot, and we got time to go, and they still – Norvell going to have to prove it each and every week. However, they started off extremely well. beating up on LSU like they did on Sunday night. At number 5, man, I dropped Ohio State down to 5 because, like I said, I'm just not trusting Kyle McCord, man. And until he shows me something different, bro, they're going to continue to fall down this top 10. But as of right now, with all the weapons that they got, I still think they're a top 5 team in the country. So I put them right there at number 5. At number 6, I got USC. USC, man, I told y'all this after we watched them in week 0. My concern with USC is up front. I don't think they got the dogs in the trenches to be able to compete with these other teams. When push comes to shove, and that's what they do in the trenches is push and shove. When push comes to shove, I don't think they have enough in those trenches, in those foxholes to get it done against an Alabama or a Georgia or a team like that if they were able to get to the college football playoff. And I don't think they're going to be able to make it there. Like I say, I like Washington. I like Oregon. Those teams are really going to be fighting for that Pac-12 championship this year, man. So it's going to be real interesting. And I must tell you this. Watch out for Colorado. I'm just going to keep it there. Watch out for Colorado. Coach Prime might be on a magical ride. Heard it here first. Coming in number 7, man, I got Penn State. Penn State is sitting pretty right there. That's another Big Ten team. They're going to have to prove it, too, as the season goes along with them having to play Michigan and Ohio State to win the Big Ten, man. So they're going to have to show it. But I think they're sitting perfect right there at number 7. And number 8, Washington, I just mentioned them. Number 9, Texas. And number 10, I dropped LSU. And I just think JT Daniels is good enough to get it done. So I'm thinking they're going to get it done. Even though, because that offense looked real good in the first half. They just didn't show up after halftime. I think they thought the game was 30 minutes. They had to think the game was 30 minutes because they just didn't come out of the locker room after halftime. And I'm going to tell you, that's Brian Kelly's fault. If there's a problem with that team, it's not players, it's Brian Kelly. I'm not trusting Brian Kelly. And until he shows me something different, that's how I'm going to feel about it, man. That is exactly how I feel. But there it is, man. The top 10 after week 1, according to me, man. Michigan at 1, UGA at 2, Bama at 3, FSU at 4, Ohio State at 5, USC at 6, Penn State at 7, Washington at 8, Texas at 9, and LSU at 10. Real quick, man, I want to talk about some notable games coming up this week. Y'all already know Alabama plays Texas. That's going to be a big game. We know how close Texas played them last year in Texas. Now they got to come to Bryant-Denny Stadium. They're going to have to show up on the road, man. Clinton Ewers, can he get it done in Bryant-Denny Stadium? Can Jalen Milroe come out and have another performance like he did last week? It's going to be interesting to see, man. I think that's the primetime game. I think it comes on at 6 p.m. on ESPN, man. So be locked in for that game. That's the only game that I really wanted to point out going into week number 2 of the college football season, man. But let's jump right into our NFL breakdown real quick. And, man, we're going to end out the show with this, man. I'm going to turn on my outro music because I done went way over time, right? It's the hardest hit in 30 minutes, and I just got long-winded. And it's okay because, like I say, I'm able to do that, man. But some of the notable games, man, coming up in the NFL this year. Week 1, Bengals versus Browns. That's a conference opponent. And I'm going to tell you what sticks out to me about this game. Major thing that sticks out to me about this Browns-Bengals game that features 2 of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL. What does Deshaun Watson look like? And I'm going to tell you why that means so much to me, what Deshaun Watson looks like. Because he's my fantasy quarterback. That's right. He is my fantasy quarterback, and I need him to go crazy this season. I need Deshaun Watson to be the Deshaun Watson of old who led the NFL in passing yards his last full season playing in the NFL. I need that Deshaun Watson back. If I can get that Deshaun Watson back, I'm Gucci, and I'm winning my fantasy league. That's right. I'm going to win the 6 club, that good Reggie. That's the name of my team. You already know, man. You already know, man. Other games that are notable in week 1, man. Panthers and Falcons, man. Can my guy Bryce Young beat up on my team, the Falcons? That's right. Falcons are my team. And I'm telling you, the Falcons have a good chance to win the NFC South this year, right? This is a division game, so this game is going to go a long way in saying who does win the NFC South. I'm not expecting the Carolina Panthers to do much, right? I hope Bryce Young has a great year, but I'm not expecting them to do much, man. So that's a game I'm looking forward to also. 49ers and Steelers. That's another game that I'm really looking forward to. Eagles play the Patriots. I wish I could make that game, man. I really wish I could make that game. Eagles play the Patriots, man. That's going to be a good one. Jalen Hurts. That's the second year in a row that Mac Jones has started off the season playing one of his former Alabama teammates. Last year, he started off playing the Miami Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa. I know that because I went to that game in person last year. And this year, he starts off playing Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. So he's matching up against his old teammate in Jalen Hurts. And then the other game that's really, really notable to me, Cowboys and Giants. Dak, what you got? What you got, Dak? What you got, Dak? People calling your name, Dak. Can the Cowboys get over the hump? I don't expect nothing from Daniel Jones. I know Duke just won with Riley Leonard last night, and that's what Daniel Jones went. I don't care. I don't expect nothing from him. I'm not a fan of Daniel Jones. Moving right along. Dolphins and Chargers. Man, come on, Tua. I got y'all already know. I gave y'all my picks of each division winner. I got the Miami Dolphins winning the AFC East. So come on, Tua. Let's do it, baby. Let's do it. Man, so yeah, that's it right there, man. And then, of course, on Monday night, Bills-Jets, that's going to be the marquee game of the weekend. But we're going to get up out of here, man. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me on Open Court with Derik Williams right here exclusively on eyeballradio.com and the Eyeball Radio YouTube page, man. Make sure you go to the YouTube page. Click subscribe. Click like, click the notification bell, give your boy some love. Make sure you go check out all of the websites, eyeballradio.com, and also my business website, guardyourman.org. How I do that? There it is right there, man. Until next week, man, you guys go out and be great. In order to be great, make sure you do something great for somebody else. And y'all already know, they call me Coach because I teach you how to ball. Until next week, I'm out. Peace.